in total silence. No press briefings, no warning. Within hours, explosions rocked multiple cities, sending shockwaves across. From the air to cyberspace, someone launched a multi-front assault with unmatched precision. The world is still piecing together what happened. Let's find out with Navy secrets. The United States made its first bold move by deploying 6 B-2 Spirit bombers from Guam. Routine mission. It was the largest B-2 deployment since the Iraq War in 2003. As many expected, the bombers took off from Diego Garcia. It also has stronger air defenses and hangars designed for stealth aircraft like fueled midair, which is rare. This detail matters because maximum number of weapons. It also means the mission was urgent and demanded total readiness. U.S. aircraft that can fly high, stay hidden from radar, and carry simultaneously. But the deployment from Guam was vain. Once in range, the B-2 bombers dropped GBU-57 bombs, ordnance penetrators. These weapons weigh 13 tons and can concrete. They are the only bombs capable of damaging Iran's Fordo nuclear site, which sits nearly 300 feet underground. Survive any normal attack. But the GBU-57 is far from normal. At the same time, Tomahawk cruise missiles aimed at Natanz and Isfahan, 2 of Iran's main nuclear facilities, fly low and fast, designed to hit targets with high accuracy and little warning. The bombs and missiles formed little chance for defense. Just as the weapons hit their targets, a clear and bold message came from the White House. Only hours after the dramatic announcement. Tonight, he said, I can report to the world that the airstrikes were a spectacular military success. Had destroyed Iran's top nuclear enrichment facilities. For years, these sites had been hidden, protected, and feared. Out. To prove the operation's seriousness, the White House released photos from inside the Situation Room. President Trump was seated at the security team. Vice President J.D. Vance, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, and others. The images showed the team watching the confidence and control. This message was not just for American citizens. It was aimed at Iran. The U.S. had used its most powerful stealth bombers, and it worked. The mission had sent a message. America was ready to act fast, hit hard, and break through any. While Washington celebrated a second and far more complex operation, this time led by Israel. As American bombers returned to lit up, Israel activated its large-scale campaign called Rising Lion, striking Iran's critical infrastructure. This was no ordinary airstrike, a multi-dimensional cyber attacks and psychological warfare in a synchronized assault. Bombed missile factories, drone command centers, and radar. In some time, Israeli cyber units hacked into financial systems, shut. Internet access was lost in key areas, and many citizens. These attacks weren't just about destroying weapons, they aimed to paralyze the government's ability to command and control. Israel launched covert psychological operations. This meant more than just striking with missiles. It meant shaking the Iranian. One hit stood out for its profound, long-term consequences in that multi-target campaign. One of the most strategic targets was the IR-40 heavy water reactor in Iraq, used to produce weapons-grade plutonium. Although Iran claimed this facility had been shut down since 2015, satellite images and the Israeli strike on Arak was devastating. And steam from the core was seen rising in satellite footage, proving it was still operational before the attack. This reactor allowed enriching uranium, which would have given them a faster path to a nuclear bomb. Military experts studied to produce plutonium for years, dealing a significant blow to its nuclear ambitions. It was not just a physical hit. No nuclear shortcut would be tolerated. It went through a national broadcast. As missiles hit military targets and bombs, something unexpected happened on Iranian television. National broadcasts were suddenly taken over, footage of protests and a message calling for the people to rise. The words, Rising Lion, flashed alongside. This was a powerful psychological strike. Iran's most important media tool. The goal was to undermine public trust in the regime, not just ran for hours before the government shut down the national internet. The call to rebellion had already spread across TV screens, phones, and satellite signals. As the much larger collapse began to unfold across the nation. After the bombs and cyber attacks, Iran, not just in military terms, but in daily life. Across the country, electricity failed, internet access vanished. Major cities lost power, leaving hospitals and homes in darkness. And thousands could no longer make digital payments or withdraw cash. Disruption. The coordinated attacks crippled Iran's digital and financial systems, making it nearly impossible for the government to maintain communication and few working services. Daily life stopped. Students, businesses, and chaos. For many Iranians, it felt like the country was pushed into the past, cut off. The blackout wasn't just physical, it was psychological. The regime had. While Iran was falling into silence, the United States was moving fast to prepare for what might come next. Forces toward the region before the dust had settled. B-1B and B-2 were moved closer to Iran's borders, along with support long-range missions. American Bahrain, repositioning themselves to strike if needed. Perhaps the most chilling signal came when the U.S. activated its E-4B command center, designed to manage nuclear and large-scale war operations. Only takes off during major national emergencies or full-scale military campaigns. The region sent a strong message. Washington was not bluffing. At the same time, U.S. Navy strike groups moved closer to destroyers and submarines within range. It was clear. America was building pressure from all directions, even as U.S. forces closed in. Iran attempted to strike back with launched a limited retaliation, firing Shahab-3 ballistic missiles and dozens of drone spaces. However, almost all of them were intercepted. Multi-layered air defense, including the Iron Dome, David Sling, and Arrow 3 systems, worked as planned. No significant damage was reported. What shocked observers was how fast Iran's missile launchers. Within hours, Israeli and U.S. drones identified and hit most launch sites, preventing fans' retaliation looked more symbolic than strategic, a show of force. Military analysts noted that Iran's response was far weaker than expected, raising questions about how much capability the regime still had. And command systems offline, Iran seemed almost paralyzed. Fear began spreading on the ground, especially in Iran's capital. As the attacks continued and Iran's defenses failed to respond, the streets of Tehran turned silent. Cameras showed empty highways, closed shops, and long lines of. What was once a busy capital became a ghost town overnight. Many about to begin. People cannot check the news or contact loved ones with internet and phone lines cut. The fear was about chaos, isolation, and what might happen next. Some believed the blackout was not just to block outside news, but also to stop Tehran's silence became a symbol of something bigger, a nation on the edge of collapse, where even the capital could no longer. While panic spread across Iran, in Washington and Tel Aviv, plans were already on the table for the final step. Invasion plan. President Trump, though celebrating the success of the airstrikes, held back the final order, leaving a small win. Yet behind the scenes, all forces were in position, and the command could be given at any moment. He'll raise the stakes. In a rare public statement, its top officials warned that if Iran continued to resist, they were prepared to eliminate the country's supreme leader. This was not just a military threat. It was a direct hit at the heart of Iran. The world waits, holding its breath, to see if war will. The joint U.S.-Israeli strike has left Iran's defenses shaken and its cities in crisis. Key nuclear sites are destroyed, and the world is now watching what comes next. With forces still on high alert, the future depends on one final chance or begin a wider war. And that wraps you today, bringing you the most authentic, up-to-date insights, backed by expert analysis from political researchers. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support is what drives us to create even depth content. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and stay tuned for our next video. See you then.